Welcome to Suburban Death Metal Dad Recommends, episode 14, where I'll be talking about Brutal Truth. Formed in 1990 by ex-Nuclear Assault bassist Dan Lelker, drummer Scott Lewis, who played in Winter, and guitarist Brent McCarty, who played on John Connolly's solo album. They released their first demo in 90, and then in 91 they released a second demo, this time with New Edition vocalist Kevin Sharp on vocals, and then released a couple of EPs, and then their first proper full-length in 1992, the outstanding and devastating masterpiece, Extreme Conditions Demand Extreme Responses. The album starts with an intro PSPI, which doesn't last too long, but it creates a bit of an ominous atmosphere before the first proper track kicks in. The outstanding Birth of Ignorance, just what a killer track. I mean, this is absolute death grind, just killer riffs and very catchy, and just pounds your head in. It's what a great track, and basically the whole album is just one after the other great tracks, killer death grind, catchy riffs, killer blast beats, vocalist Kevin Sharp, just deep growls, screams, just a great talent in my opinion. And of course, Dan Lelker's bass is, high in the mix. And, the riffs, like I said, guitarist Brent McCarty, just amazing. Start to finish, just a great album. Tracks like, Denial of Existence, Regression, Progression, Anti-Homophobe, Time, Unjust Compromise, Stench of Profit, just one after the other in a very fast and very quick. Collateral Damage. Just definitely one to check out if you're a fan of death metal or grindcore. It's a great hybrid of both, in my opinion. So, after this release, drummer Scott Lewis left the band, and they recruited drummer Richard Hoke, and in 94 released their second album, Need to Control. More death grind, but this time there's an added ingredient on this one. I think there's more experimentation. There's tracks that are basically, I would say, soundscapes, and but it all fits great. This one is probably their best one. It's between the first one and this one, I would say, on just my personal opinion. They're both fantastic albums. Both produced by Colin Richardson, does an amazing job. I really am a big fan of his work, and Opener, Collapse, slower track, but just really, absolutely killer. And, songs like Black Door Mine and Iron Lung, Ordinary Madness, another slower one, but just really killer. Choice of a New Generation, Brain Trust, Judgment, just start to finish, amazing album. And if you happen to get the re-release or the Japanese version, there's bonus tracks on there, including the cover of Dethroned Emperor from Celtic Frost. Just, in my opinion, another masterpiece for the band. 1996, the band released an EP, Kill Trend Suicide, basically a nod to vocalist from SOB in Japan. He had committed suicide, and Brutal Truth had worked with them and known the band, so it's, like I said, I guess you want to call it a bit of a tribute or a message about suicide. Anyway, this release, it's more grind than death metal, I would say. They're basically slowly moving away from the death metal and focusing more on the grind, but this one's an absolutely killer release as well. Opening track, Blind Leading the Blind, just really awesome, fast, killer, great riffs. Other tracks like Homesick, Humanity's Folly, Let's Start a War. The title track, Kill Trend Suicide, is killer too. Just Really cool, very good release, and I'm very into this one as well. Then in 1997, the band released their third full-length Sounds of the Animal Kingdom. This one's more grind and more of a, say, a cleaner production. Not clean, but, compared with the first two albums that were very, very heavy, and brutal sounding. This one's a little more stripped down, I should say. And you can hear, the instruments very well and the riffs, which is very cool. But like I said, it's more grind, but still pretty damn cool release. I like it a lot. Opener Dementia, you know, just kicks you in the face right away. Other great tracks like Average People, Dead Smart, cover song called It's After the End of the World. It's a little bit weird, but very cool. Blue Worlds, bit of a soundscape ambient track. And Cyber God, it's on the Japanese version, which has bonus tracks. I like that song a lot, which is a cover song by a band called Nausea. They also do a cover of Cornucopia from Black Sabbath. And it's just a really good album. I like it a lot. I listen to it often. And then, unfortunately, in 1998, the band broke up, and in '99, they released basically a 2-disc compilation called Goodbye Cruel World, which has a bunch of live tracks, bonus tracks. It has those, Japanese bonus tracks from Sons of the Animal Kingdom, bonus track that was for the Japanese version of Kill Trend Suicide, and just miscellaneous tracks from different splits and whatnot. So it's a very cool release to have. Fortunately, I was able to see him live a couple of times in '98. I was also supposed to see him in 1996, but people I was going with to the show, for whatever reason, we got there super late and missed Brutal Truth and Immolation, and only got to see Cannibal Corpse. But I was fortunate enough; I did get to see him, twice in '98 in a very small club both times. And anyway, they ended up reuniting in 2006 without Brett McCarty. So they started doing shows and then eventually released an album in 2009 called Evolution Through Revolution. And it's a pretty good release, kind of continues along the lines of where they left off, I would say. More grind and, it's a little bit different than, what I was used to, I guess, with, Brent McCarty on guitar, but still a very good release, especially if you're in the grind. Opening track Sugar Daddy, which they did a video for, I think that's very catchy and a very cool blasting track. Other tracks like Daydreamer, Powder Burn, Detached, Afterworld, Grind Fidelity. It's just, pretty much grind, but, Brutal Truth has their own take on grind, which, I think is, a bit unique, and I'm definitely a big fan of it, even though I'm not really a big grindcore fan at all. I do like some, but I prefer death metal or death grind, not just straight up grind. But Brutal Truth does it very well, and like I said, I can listen to it, I can enjoy it. Then in 2011, they released their next album called End Time. And I think I'm more of a fan of this album than Evolution Through Revolution. And the artwork is very cool. I like the artwork on this one a lot. And opening track Malice kind of reminds me of, like Collapse from Need Control. It's slow, it's heavy, and pretty killer track. Other great tracks, the title track End Time, Simple Math, Butcher, Addicted, Small Talk, Warm Embrace of Poverty, Lottery. Just, another killer release from the band, especially if you're a fan of grind. It's got a lot of interesting ideas and sounds, and, like I said. Grind isn't mainly my thing, but it's still something I do like a lot anyway. So, band went on for a few more years, and I was fortunate. I did get to see them on their last tour in Europe, and you know, they eventually broke up in 2014, and I just kind of took note of it today that I believe next month it'll be 10 years since they broke up for a second time. So basically, at this point, I'll go ahead and show stuff from my collection. The God Player 7-inch EP, and on the flip side is a Brutal Truth type cover of Wish You Were Here from Pink Floyd that goes into a bit of a grind breakdown. So it's called Wish You Were Here, Wish You'd Go Away. It's a cool track. It's also on the Japanese version of Need to Control. And then this is the Machine Parts Plus 4, which is the Machine Part song from Sounds of the Animal Kingdom, and 4 other tracks, including several versions of Collateral Damage live. So it's a cool release to have. Here's a flyer from that show I saw in '98, and also showed this in the Impaled Nazarene video. So that was a great show. And the other show I saw them, they were with Soylent Green in '98. The vinyl version of Extreme Conditions Demand Extreme Responses. Like I said, just an absolute death grind masterpiece, in my opinion. And also on vinyl, their second album, Need to Control, also a great album. This one and Extreme Conditions, they're my favorites by far. Perpetual Conversion, released in 1992. It's 5 tracks, including a cover of Lord of This World from Black Sabbath, the Kill Trend Suicide EP, Sounds of the Animal Kingdom. I think this album cover is pretty cool. It's different, not something you normally see. I think, I like it a lot. The Goodbye Cruel World double disc, Evolution Through Revolution, for Drug Crazed Grind Freaks Only, which is basically live in the studio, recorded in 1998. It's a pretty cool release. Sounds pretty decent. It came with patch. Here's another live in the studio release, Evolution in One Take, which is basically the band going through the entire Evolution Through Revolution album live in the studio. And this one also came with patch. And this is the deluxe edition of End Time, which comes with a few extra things, including bonus tracks. And like I said, I do really like this artwork, and the album is pretty damn good grind release, in my opinion. Finally, DVD for The Ugly and Unwanted, which is a full show from the Obscene Extreme. It's about an hour long, recorded in 2007, plus 4 additional shows from like 1998 when they were touring for Sounds of the Animal Kingdom. I would say it's like, as far as quality and whatnot goes, it's about 3 out of 5. It's worth getting if you're a fan. So that's basically it for Brutal Truth, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's after the end of the world.